And we're live. What's up, everybody? So I smoked some weed yesterday. I was talking to a few of my colleagues, and I forgot what prompted the discussion. But it had been close to 2.5 years since I had done anything like that. And I was like, you know what? I feel like a little psychedelic trip. And so instead of me doing like shrooms or something extreme, instead of taking that approach, what I do is I'll just keep my I'll increase my mechanosensitivity, so then I don't have to use really much substance to get a psychedelic trip. And last night I had it was a pretty awesome sensation. In many instances in the past, whenever I would do it, my body would kind of reject it, and it would be like completely disgusted by it. And I would always have like some kind of like psychological thing going on in my head. There'd always be this thing where there'd be like some kind of a self-judgment about how I'm doing things, about like how I've done things, what my future is going to be. There's always been like, it was just marijuana. I just smoked some like really, some very thoughtful sativa. But I had full visuals and geometry and all that. Like it was like full psychedelic. I'm super, super sensitive when it comes to any kinds of substances. And so especially when I haven't given myself a long time to do it. So I'm the type that says, you know what, I'll maybe give myself something like this, maybe like every year, maybe every 2 years, to get some perspective. And I'll say I got some perspective. And the perspective is that I'm tapping into that realm, the psychedelic realm, endogenously. And that at some point I'm going to just function there. And then but when I function there, I'm going to look like a completely different person. I remember a big part, like a big wake-up moment there where I'm like, man, why am I so fucking grumpy all the time? And then, this is awesome because it leads you down this introspection. It's one thing, because I'll come to I have the same introspection. It's just, this gets you to feel why you have that introspection. Like a certain way. It gets you to feel it, and it gets you like to wire into your brain. And then it's like, think about all the things that you have to manage, bro. Like think about what you want to do. And so let's say when I've taken a psychedelic, at some point I feel the congestion in my body. I feel my coagulation. My body feels coagulated, and so I end up feeling it. And so then I'm like, okay, how do we get through this? And then I can kind of like wiggle my way through getting rid of a lot of this coagulation. And so I'm like, I want to get to the depths of this problem. I want to solve this problem, and I'm obsessed with it. From the moment I wake up, guys, I'll wake up usually most days at like 5:30 in the morning to the time that I go to sleep, which will usually, depends on the night. Sometimes I'll be doing live feeds at night, but I'll usually try to get to bed by like 9 p.m., something like that. And so from the morning till the evening, it's literally on my mind. I'll be having conversations with people, but honestly, it's like the conversations that I have with people, even when I'm talking to you guys, it's like, to be completely honest, you guys don't really have my full attention, which is why it's so hard so many times for me to kind of like, to engage with people, because like my brain I'm not here like most of the time. And this is what I was like really understanding more last night, is that one of the main reasons I can't, the reason I can't fully like express what I'm thinking is because I'm not here. I'm in the process of trying to extrapolate this fucking super complicated issue, because what's on the back end of it is incredible. It's amazing. I think I've shown quite a bit of it. If you guys look at the results that we get, the evidence that we've showcased to demonstrate that FP is effective, it's like that, but I'm trying to solve something that's like way, way deeper. And so it's hard for me to maintain my attention span because I'm just thinking about that all day long. If I watch TV or if I'm watching YouTube videos, it's like everything is white noise to me. I'm so glad I'm saying this because it explains everything. It's like everything is white noise to me. except for that thing that I'm trying to pursue. And so the reason I get aggravated, the reason I get irritable, because usually people will say, Naudi, it's because of this insecurity and it's because of that insecurity that you're responding like this. And I'm like, no, I'm just frustrated because I want to focus on this. But then everybody keeps telling me to focus on that, and that I'm insecure because I'm short, or because my nose is crooked, or because I'm not getting all the hot chick. That's how I'm sure a lot of people would process information. And I'm like, no, you idiot. Like I'm thinking about something like bigger. And the funny thing is, what I realized last night is I've been looking for this since I was I think 3 years old or 4 years old. I've been looking for this my whole fucking life. And because I would remember when I was young, I would have these, I don't know, it's like these geometrical thoughts in my fucking head. I don't remember having, and so whenever I get high, I'm like, oh shit. And it's become more obvious to me as I've become an adult that there's this thing, this is crazy. Last night I imagined that the universe is essentially like a super complicated set of gears, and that they're all moving at a certain ratio. That there's certain ratios of motion that operate through reality, and that it's kind of fluid to some degree. And so every time what I'm doing in my life is trying to lock in with that fucking moving grid or something like that. Or it's lock in with these moving gears. It's fascinating. But there's a certain, it's almost like lymphatic drainage has a certain ratio of moving parts to it. And I was like, shit, it's fucking crazy. But anyway, going back to this whole thing about why I'm so irritable, it's life is I'm trying to solve this problem. And while I'm trying to solve this problem, this problem has all my attention, guys. And it's had all my attention since I was really young. I don't know how far back it goes, but it goes back really far, really far. And it's very, I don't know. It's like my brain, it's like an antenna. It wants that fucking thing. And so I think there's a lot of people that operate within that they want the same thing. I think even people that come into this movement, they probably had this when they were a kid and they don't even know it. But it's I think the brain is an antenna, and it's trying to tune into a frequency, or it's trying to tune into the body, which is actually tuning into what's going on in reality. And then the body is informing the brain that, hey, look, we need to connect to this thing. So the reason I'm so irritable, the reason I'm so grumpy all the time is because, quite honestly, nobody cares about that thing that I care about so much, which is trying to unify with this fucking set of gears that is the universe. I'm trying to unify with it. I'm trying to figure out what it is. And it's funny because as an adult, I don't feel much different than who I was when I was a kid. I feel like the same fucking person, only I'm I'm more socially adept. I understand more how this thing works out here, but none of this really you guys don't really have that much of my attention. It's more if anything, it's the doubts that people try imposing on a motherfucker is the part that pisses you off. But then, so I'm thinking, because I was thinking about this last night. I'm like, God, I wish I could just get rid of this anger. And it's dude, you're not going to be able to get rid of this anger. There's just no ways around it. There's no way that you are going to get over this, bro. You're going to just be super aggro. You're going to be super agitated until you solve this problem. And it's fine. And just learn to accept it. Now it's fine. And I'm like, yeah, I guess which I kind of already have. I think I learned to accept this maybe around 3-4 years ago. I was like, this is just who you are, Naudi. It's just, there's no sense in trying to change it. You can try, but I don't know if this is something that you should change. And I got high last night. I did have this crazy psychedelic experience. And it's yeah, dude, there's no sense in changing this shit. It just is what it is. This is who you are. This is what makes you who you are. But on the other side of this, you're no longer going to be frustrated, because when you attain what's there, what's on the other side of this problem, which is the optimization of the ratios of all the moving parts in my body, when that happens and you tune the body as a structure, you're going to be like how you are right now. Because when I was high last night, I wasn't angry. It was more I was just observing it. And I was like, okay, I pulled myself out of it. And it's yeah, you're not going to be like that. And then I was like, if I communicate to people in a manner by how I think right now, how are people going to take this? And it's like, it's not going to matter, because you are going to look so fucking different that anything you say, people are going to believe based upon where you came from. And they're not going to judge you for any of the shit that you said in the past or anything like that, because they're going to judge you based upon what you've become and the struggle that you've endured to get to where you're at when you've accomplished it. And I was like, shit, this is fucking crazy. And then I started asking this, I started asking this voice. I'm like, man, I feel like you're like my homeboy, because this voice is always in my head. And the thing is, guys, like, I don't have within myself, there's a part of me that doubts myself, but then there's another part of me that's like always very encouraging. It's always like, yeah, you got this, bro. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, you're good. You're good. And I started asking that voice of encouragement. I was like, is this God? And then it was like, maybe it is. Maybe this is God. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And I was like, maybe the fact that you're agnostic is a problem, Naudi. Maybe what you do need is a belief in God. And if you had a belief in God, then you would you'd be able to solve this a lot faster if you operated through God. And I was like, okay, I'm open to that. I'm open to that whole idea and blah blah blah. And then I go through this whole cycle of thoughts, and it was like, yeah, bro, even if this, I'm like, I hate to break it to you, but this isn't God. And then never mind that, even if this was God, God wouldn't care that, God wouldn't care about whether you believe in him or not, because it's an irrelevant thing. So like, if God exists, he wouldn't care, or it wouldn't care that you care about him existing or whether you worship him or not, because it's arbitrary. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So it's kind of like what I concluded after that. A lot of breakthrough moments, though. A lot of great recollections that I got from it. I won't do it again probably for another couple of years, maybe another 18 months. I won't do it again. I kept the vape pen just to be like, hey, man, what if I want to do this for whatever, 2 or 3 months so I can tune in further. It didn't get me to tune in further. I was hoping I would cavitate even better, or that I'd be able to get better into my mechanics. But what I'm realizing, guys, is that I feel in many regards that there's two different camps. And I remember I had a buddy of mine way back in the day when I lived in San Diego, and he would talk about that there are people who work for this, like who will work to try and attain that psychedelic thought, or to take on a very psychedelic oriented way of existing. There's people that work for it, and there's people that just want the shortcuts, that will just take the psychedelics automatically, who want the wisdom. And for me, I'm the kind of guy that that feels that you can't really intuitively, I'm like, you can't really attain something unless you've worked for it. That's just how it is. If something's given to, like, the way I see it is like this, guys. Imagine that you have really beautiful people. Really beautiful people most of the time tend to be really fucking dumb, like really dumb. It just is what it is. And the reason for that is because they were given something. They were given more function than other people. Like if you look at athletic people, they were given function rather than having to work for it. And I think because that absence of the struggle happens to be there, that the only thing that's left for them to be is incredibly dumb. And so my approach has always been that you need to work to attain this. And I feel like I'm seeping into that reality more and more. And I get frustrated, I get angry, I get agitated by people and their the things that they think about, the things that they value that are completely detached from the point of this all, which is that thing that I'm trying to attain, which I think is what everybody wants at the end of the day. We all want to feel healthy, because where that thing is health. That's what that thing is, what that frequency is. When you understand, through my life, I've come to realize that the universe is actually a machine, right? And it has moving parts. We just can't see the moving parts. And you either orient your anatomy to the moving parts or you don't. Gravity is directly connected to it, the motions of the universe. There are probably ratios to the motions of the universe that are present in every aspect of I guess, the space-time continuum. There has to be some level of constants to all of this stuff. And I feel that what I'm trying to tune into are the constants. But yeah, I don't think I don't need it. That's the whole thing. Like I guess what I need is a perspective to just say, hey, the encouragement. But it was amazing, because other times that I've smoked weed, it's like there'll be like this inner dialogue, this doubt. These last couple times I haven't had it, but last night was really good. And I think a lot of it was because I got a vape instead of smoking it directly from a joint. But yeah, it was all just like, you're already doing this, bro. Like, you don't need us, but you're already doing this. But here's some perspective to help you understand your struggle a little bit, man. Here, boom, you're good. Just stay the course, bro. Don't even worry about any of the other shit. The rest of it is just, it's white noise. Every reality is, in terms of what everybody else is perceiving is white noise, and Naudi, you are the way that you are because everybody else is white noise. Everything else is white noise to you. It's fucking, yeah, somebody just put interesting perspective. Yeah, bro, it's fucking crazy. It's absolutely insane. I feel so lucky, dude. I feel so lucky. Like, to be able to, because before if I would have gotten that high before, it wasn't even enough. I was like, I think I should probably take another big rip of this to get a little deeper. But then I was like, I don't need to. I'm good. Like, this is fine. But full on, like, fucking, it's not even just like I could see that, like, some of the aspects of reality, but then I could actually, like, it felt like gears. I'm telling you, it felt like fluid gears or some shit. I don't know. Like, it was like it was like gears, but then I was like in a fluid membrane as well. It was really very profound. Adam Reimer writes, the occasional THC experience can be super beneficial if you're tuned in and go deep into it. It's unfortunate most abuse it just to turn their brains off and tune out. Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Anytime that I take anything that might alter my perception, like especially if it's anything that's psychedelic, I never do it socially. Never. The thing is, you don't want to do that because you're going to burn out your receptors. That's why I don't personally recommend like constant use of drugs because yeah, I'm leaving this up for sure, bro. I'm probably going to keep this up permanently because this is a very like important video. Somebody just asked, what the hell was I? Oh yeah, I don't recommend that people take even supplements because it's like you can burn out, like you essentially burn out circuits as far as I see it. It's like even like taking caffeine, I'm sure it has utility every once in a while. Like it can have utility, but it's like biochemical substances can have utility. It's just that constant use of them burn out receptors as far as I see it. Like you decondition the receptors because you're overusing them over and over again. And so for me, anytime I get a chance, if I'm going to have a psychedelic experience, I'm like, all right, I'm going to sit down and I'm not going to do anything else. Nothing else is I'm not going to do anything else other than what's here. I don't want to talk to anybody. If anything, I'll just if I'm around somebody, I'll talk to them and just say, hey, can you remind me that I said this thing here? Because I don't want to forget it. Thank you. So yeah, guys, I'm an irritable person, and I'm okay with it, and I don't mind if people don't like it, but I'm respectful too. I can engage in respectful dialogue too. Journaling is powerful while on a psychedelic. Yeah, perhaps, bro, but there's no way I could do that while I'm just laying there. It's like you lose the experience by taking yourself off of it. Talking to somebody is just faster. Verbalizing it is faster. So I take a mental note, and then I don't end up forgetting the important parts. But yeah, I've been looking for this my whole life, guys, since I was very young. It's what's drawn my interest to go down this path. What did I do? I just smoked a vape, like high, it was a sativa, high THC content. Did you film yourself pressurizing or moving? It's no different than if I'm sober, bro. It doesn't, like, if I'm not high, it's the same thing. I've done this before. There was a time when I was in Kauai where I did it, and I got, like, it hit me really hard. And at that time, I was struggling with it. The last 2 times I've done it, including last night, I didn't struggle with it. It's like, I'm at peace with what I am. That's just kind of what the whole thing is. Like, I'm at peace with what I am. And there's nothing wrong with me. I'm I'm responding to my reality as best as I can while I'm trying to be as focused as possible on like solving the problem. Sometimes I break through and I can make like people that are here in this realm that we're operating against the priority, and I can engage with them. But the truth is that it's like I just have to accept. I guess that probably is what makes me autistic, guys. I guess that makes me an autist. That's why I'm so irritable, because I want to be focused on that thing. So I guess it's probably what puts me on the spectrum. I'm probably autistic. Would make sense. And the further I go into this life, the further I like delve deeper into this, the more everything else appears to just be white noise constantly. That's why, like, even when I go out into nature, like, I don't even care about like, oh, look, here's this amazing landmark or whatever. I almost intentionally avoid those places because there's going to be a lot of people there that I may have to engage with that will then take me away from like trying to attain this goal. Trying to get some CBD only flower mix 1-to-1 with normal weed gives a really peaceful balance. See, the thing is, bro, last night it was completely peaceful. The whole thing was peaceful. Super thoughtful, super peaceful, zero anxiety at all. Nothing. Which was the craziest experience that I've ever had. Like, usually there's some kind of anxiety, some kind of worry that's involved in it. Last night I literally had nothing. It was literally nothing. Do I have resentments? Nah, man, not really, bro. It's like, nah, I don't. I'm frustrated, but I wouldn't say that I'm resentful. I'm just frustrated. Like, I think in terms like this, that I know that there's probably people. Well, the thing is, I've spoken to some of these people, and they have like pretty large platforms, and they've wanted to talk to me. And it's not that I'm resentful of them that makes me not want to talk to them. It's not that. It's just more the stuff. I'm concerned about the things that they're going to want to talk about and how they may begin to want to impact my thoughts. Like here's where it's at. Look, let me show you guys. I've been making memes lately. So imagine you have like this situation going on a regular basis. Like, your life is this. That's pretty much what it is. And so my concerns with life are that I don't want to be Tom Jones here with the gun on his back. I don't want to feel like that. I'm not going to be that person. Because the second that you have to be, like the second that I have to be, I could work on becoming a much more effective speaker. I could hire a coach. I could take acting classes, things like that to get me better and regiment myself to that for the next 2 years and become a very effective public speaker. But there's a part of me, and that part of me is the one focused on this thing that I want. And that part of my brain is like, no, we're not going to regiment ourselves to like try and, fulfill what society wants. Like, Naudi, you're not going to be social. You're just not. This is not what's going to happen with you, bro. You're not going to be a social individual. This is how it was meant for you. So to me, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be Tom Jones. But most people are that guy. And a lot of times people don't. The reason that people imagine that everybody's in a room, right? Everybody's in a room and they're dealing with this circumstance right now, right? Imagine that everybody's dealing with that circumstance. And then there's a guy in the middle saying, hey, a guy in the middle is like saying something that exposes the person with the gun in your back. Because those people pressure you. It could be your family. It could be your friends. It could be your romantic partner. Imagine that I'm saying things that like to that person. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the people around you that got the gun in your back. The culture that's going to cancel you if you choose not to abide by the rules of, social norms. That's my situation in life. That just is what it is. And the reason that I don't want to connect with people, the reason that I don't want to connect with podcasters and whatnot, is because their life is governed by this situation here. Their life is governed by trying to fit in with the people that are operating under these sets of conditions. And I'm just not a fan of it. I'd rather just stay autistic. So I'm actually going to put up a video afterwards of this guy named Osho. I'm not a big fan of the whole cult thing. I'm not a big fan of that. But what I will say is that he did say a lot of things that happen to be relevant. And so the things that he said here are relevant. I don't see myself as an artist. I see myself as a scientist. But he says that an artist goes through this process. And then in order to be a more effective individual, like you need to not like allow people to kind of get in your way. So yeah, guys, I'm not going to live that experience. And I'm okay with that. And I think last night did help me become okay with just being who I am, going down the path that I am, and just saying, hey, look, life is the thing is like I want to be socially accepted. It just has to be right. And I was thinking about this last night too, where I'm like, I've had foibles with people that are in the public space where I've criticized them and whatnot. But I'm just like, I think I've made some bold claims, but I don't think that they're bold. I think I've demonstrated enough evidence to showcase that my claims are not that bold and that functional patterns should be broadly adopted as it is right now. I think I've already put forth enough of that evidence. But I don't think it's substantial enough for everybody to say, you know what, we're ready to drop what we're doing to employ what functional patterns is. And I'm like, yeah, that's a fair thing. So if the establishment doesn't want to take me on and listen to everything that I say and only do what I say as it relates to training and conditioning the body, I just have to develop better techniques. I just have to keep evolving this thing until it just becomes even more undeniable. And then they'll probably be cool with it, and then it won't be awkward. It'll be less awkward later on down the line. And if anything, I'll just be thankful that these guys were so nitpicky and critical. I'll be happy with the fact that they were that way, because when I get on the other side of this, then it's not even that it's going to be sweeter. It'll just be like, hey man, hey, it was because you guys were so picky that it forced me to elevate myself to the level that I'm at. So thank you for doing that. That's kind of how I'm going to orient myself. I don't think I'm going to be mad or anything like that. But as it relates to connecting to people now, it's not the time. Not the time. My hope is that the powers that all these influencers that are out there can at least keep society at least functioning, because I think that this is their purpose. That hopefully they can keep the crowd chilled out enough so guys like me can cook. I need to be in the kitchen cooking. That's what I need to do. And so I have no animosities towards them either. It is what it is. Like we all have we all make our contributions in some way, shape, or form. And the people that are in establishment media and anti-establishment media, we're all doing our part, and we all do things wrong, and we all need to constantly self-correct. So yeah, I'm definitely not a resentful person at all. Jan Froniel writes, solitude is addictive. I'm getting burnout easily in social situations. Yeah, the thing is, social situations are good, bro, when the people that are around you are trying to nurture the pursuit of function. It's nice to have a social circle of people that are into that. But when they're not, it's very problematic. George Vidal writes, I had a circle like that. I don't talk to them anymore. LOL. Good, bro. Good for you. You're also the gun in someone else's back. No, I'm not. I don't tell people. I don't point a gun to somebody's back. Like, look, this is why I'll tell you that I'm not that guy. Watch. I'm not that guy because I'm not telling you to have a big smile I'm not telling somebody to have a big smile and tell everybody that to be happy. I'm just telling people, hey, like, be real. I'm not, and I don't need to point a gun in your back because I'm just telling you that life is doing that for you already. Like, life is already doing this. Like, reality is doing this, gravity. Entropy is doing this to you every single day, right? And so this whole process here, what you're seeing right here on this meme, what you're seeing there is what people do to cope with the idea that nature is disassembling them on a second by second basis. This is how they cope with it. They're like, hey, if we just play within this hierarchy, we don't have to. We get to avoid the fact that nature is disassembling us. This is what people do. So I'm not that. I'm just telling you that reality is doing this to you all the time. And I'm like, you're not going to address how reality is doing this to you if you continue to keep engaging with the world in the way that you do. So yeah, don't get me wrong, like being courteous to each other and whatnot, you have to be able to do that, right? But when all of your thoughts orient around this situation is where I find it to be problematic. And I just don't do it. I just don't do it. I've been told that brain trauma affects the endocannabinoid system and cannabis regulates that faulty mechanism. Any thoughts? No, I think mechanotransduction is what regulates that faulty mechanism. I think marijuana, I think it can help, but you have to do it in spots, in cycle. If you're going to do it, maybe cycle it in. It's just, it can be really utilizing things like psychedelics enable you to perceive yourself from a different space. It's just people become very. My concern with people that are psychonauts and people that do psychedelics is the actual work they do after the fact, and whether that work that they do while they are sober is actually the work that they need to be doing. That's the question that I ask. Like you don't get people who are psychonauts who typically end up coming into functional patterns and saying, okay, I'm all in on this and I want to do the work. Usually what I tend to find is that people who are psychonauts are extremely lazy when it comes to when it comes to actually tackling the problems. That Tom Jones Simpsons meme, they're very lazy when it comes to trying to solve for that problem. What would you suggest for emotionally hypersensitive people? They just need to fix their mechanics. Strain must have been a good CBD to THC balance. No, it was mostly THC. I told the lady at the dispensary, hey, I want this to be as sativa and as thoughtful as possible. So I want it to be as high. Pretty much what I was communicating, that I wanted as high of a THC concentrate as I could get. Well, I'm just scrolling up through these guys. Question that I didn't want to miss. Juan Jimenez writes, there's that mechanistic naturalism. Yes. That sounds like Rick Rubin's book with the antenna analogy. Really conversation, you should skim it. Yeah, maybe, yeah. Rick Rubin seems like a really interesting guy. Very interesting. Adam Reimer writes, I'm finding most extended family relationships to be non-valuable, but I'll be made to feel guilty about distancing. Yeah, that's some evolutionary baggage that I think that we have going on. I'm not, I guess this is like a part where I believe I probably conflict greatly with modern humans. So I'm like, I don't think blood is thicker than water. I think ideas trump biology or biological connections. Ideas are more important to me than biology. Much more important, because an idea can completely. Ideas completely shape your biology. If the idea is good enough and it's coherent enough and it accounts for enough variables, that idea can change your biology and it makes our entire world better. So for me, I live in a world of ideas, not in a world of genetic alliances or something like that. I don't even know what I'd classify it as. Okay, Aaron MBM writes, when I said you're the gun, I meant we can influence others too, not you personally, Naudi. Yeah, I get what you're saying, but we don't have to like, it's like, my whole thing is that I don't want to feel like somebody is being negatively pressured to make the right choice. I think what prompts people feel FOMO with functional patterns, and they say, what am I missing? And that's what prompts them to want to come our way. And so for me, I rely on that. It's just saying, like, look at what you're missing out on if you don't partake in our ecosystem. That's what I spend my time doing, is trying to get people to visualize what they're missing out on, but not necessarily having anybody like pressure them. Like, you're not going to get like, I don't get me wrong. Like, I put people on NDAs and whatnot, but this is customary when it comes to like companies that have intellectual property. So don't get me wrong. Like, there is like some level of accountability, business wise, but at the end of the day, I want people to join because there's a great deal of incentives that come with it. That's how we should orient ourselves. Trying to muscle people and body people up with just like, I don't know, like with established authority doesn't really make that much sense to me. Blood definitely isn't thicker. I have had to distance myself from part of my family. Too much simp behavior. Absolutely, bro. And I tell people point blank. Phase 4 water is thicker than blood. Woo! Jesus, Patrick. Take it easy, guys. You just dropped a bomb on everybody on that one. Fantastic. FP is a great system, but I have met several people in FP with body dysmorphia. Yeah, bro, but it's like I always find that interesting. They'll be like, yeah, FP is a great system, but the people don't have like absolutely perfect values relative to what I would deem to think are perfect values. I don't think anybody in FP is saying that they have it figured out. I think they're works in progress, and they're going through a transition in their own life. So nobody's saying that people in functional patterns are like have it figured out, or that they're truly objective about everything. Many people in functional patterns still feel like they have that gun in their back. They still feel like they have Smithers behind them. I'd have to imagine that's the case. So yeah, everybody's as they say, everybody's on their own journey, man. FP is training functional movement. It then needs to be applied to our warrior genetics. Bro, it's just corny, bro. Like just warrior genetics. I don't know. Every time that somebody says that, it's like, oh God, oh, a warrior. It's kind of good. Hey, David. It's good. Hey, David. How's it going, bro?
Hey, good.
You know what I mean? I'm just kind of like, yeah. I don't know. Like I'm a warrior. It just seems so, yeah. Like, oh, look at me. Like, realistically, guys, we are specks of fluid on this giant thing that we call Earth, which is actually really small. And then that is a speck inside of an entire galaxy. Like, nothing makes me feel like that more than when I go out into nature and then I see like when I'm around mountains and I see like the rock formations and then I see the moon and I'm like, wow, I could imagine what I would look like if I was on the moon. Like if there was two of me and there was a version of me looking at myself on the moon, I'd be like, oh wow, I'm literally nothing. But I'm a warrior. Look at, oh, I'm a warrior. It's just like, good Lord, bro. Ugh. They don't bring that in here, bro. Don't bring that in here. I'm just like, have more humility than that. Oh yeah, I'm a tough guy, bro. I'm so strong. I'm so strong. Oh, it's like as soon as people start like comparing themselves to other people, I'm just like, it seems very inconsequential to me. But yeah, I'm a warrior, bro. I'm a warrior. Yeah. It's like nerds are the ones that make these drones that kill people. Nerds, right? Engineers. They're the ones that design these drones, and they can launch missiles off of them. Nerds create airplanes, and those airplanes drop bombs on people. Nerds create ICBMs, and a nerd does that, and then they can destroy civilization. Nerds, not warriors. Oh yeah, warrior. Guys, it's just I feel like maybe when people are kids, they're like, oh yeah, like for me it was like Jean-Claude Van Damme, Sylvester Stallone. But then at some point you grow up. I think at some point you should be an adult and be like, is that really? Like as an adult, should I want to be more like Einstein or Sylvester Stallone? Which one would probably be the wiser choice? If I was an alien observing humans and they just came here, what would the alien be more impressed by? Somebody who wants to be Sylvester Stallone or somebody that wants to be Albert Einstein? I would have to assume that 100% of the time it would be Albert Einstein. Yeah, Adam, I know all about, I know what you're talking about. I'm going to have to close this out, guys. I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I had a phone call. I got most of my ideas out. I have a meeting I got to run into about phase 4 of FP. Isn't that funny? That functional patterns has gone into like the 4 phases of development, right? Phase 1 is educating the general masses, making them aware of the brand. Phase 2 is educating them, certifying them in the methodology. Phase 3 is getting physical products sold to them, whether it's pulling machines, regen trainers, Function X, RG bells, things of that nature. And then the 4th phase is project function. And it's the 4th phase of water. It's amazing how all those things kind of came together. I don't know, dude. Macho Man dropped some philosophical bangers back in the day. Don't get me wrong, bro. I think it's good to aspire to be like strong, physically strong for health purposes. I just don't like it when it's like, oh, I'm trying to size. Because what does it devolve into? Somebody trying to size somebody else up. Be like, hey, look, it's like, I don't want to be at the bottom of the pecking order, so I got to be really physically strong so I don't put myself at the bottom of the pecking order. That's the part where I'm like, I want to be buff so I can have somebody to pick on. So there's always somebody weaker that I can pick on. That's the part to me, bro, that I have no respect for. That's the part to me that I find to be the most utterly disgusted. That when you decide to become one of these quote unquote warriors, instead of trying to lift people up my whole thing is that these warriors oftentimes completely give up on people who don't already have good genetics, right? They're very apt to do that. And so in many regards, it's almost like some people take on this quote-unquote warrior mindset to be bullies, and sometimes people do it to actually legitimately help others. And there's a big difference between the two, right? Many of them will pose to be like they're trying to help people, but really it's just more along the lines of like, can I sell them something that's going to supposedly help them become a warrior? It's just like a big hype job. And I just find it to be, hey, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah, kind of lame. It's kind of lame. I'm not a big fan of it. Not meaning to be like irritable, but I just think about what we can pursue as humans, and then this is what people are pursuing, and I'm like, yeah, that's kind of lame. Not a big fan. Not a big fan myself, and I'm sure a lot of other people feel that way too. So yeah, be physically strong for the sake of being healthy and for the sake of being able to uplift others. I'll say that, and try and learn skills to be like helpful of others, but don't, this whole thing, when you start saying, hey, look, I want to be a tough guy so I can have somebody to talk shit to, I'm not a big fan of that. What about being a warrior as an overall approach to life? Mental resilience, physical optimization. I think it's just being a human, man. Like, that's just being a biological organism. Like, I just, my whole outlook on it is just kind of like, it's just corny, bro. When you say I'm a warrior, it's corny. It's just corny. It's like people watch the movie Gladiator and they're like, oh, I want to be that guy. And it's like, I want to be like a Nikola Tesla who engineers solutions for people. I want to be like a Thomas Edison who, like, you know, like, you can't see at night so much, so he invents a thing called a light bulb. That to me sounds, let me put it this way, nobody fantasizes about that. Nobody fantasizes about that, but I think that we should. We should fantasize more about innovation. And I made that choice a long time ago, right? I made that decision a long time ago to be like, yeah, you know, if logically speaking, what would I rather be? Like, I wasn't always an innovator, guys. I literally wasn't. I probably could have started a band. Probably could have been a lead guitarist. And I probably could have been a decent composer and been like, hey, you know what? I'll be in a rock band or something. And I will, but I was like, yeah, what's the utility in this? At some point, you're left to make a decision and say, okay, what am I trying to satisfy here is the question. I was left to ask that question. And I said, no, I'll not be a musician so I can be a scientist because science makes more sense to me. It was more of my calling. And so my problem with this whole warrior mindset is that it's just cheesy. It's corny. Just like, oh, like, good. You're just saying this to try and bring in regular people. I guess if that's the wording you have to do to bring regular people onto it, it's just, I am the kind of person that thinks that you should value guys like Einstein, like Isaac Newton, Michael Faraday, George Boole, Bertrand Russell. I think that you should, like, listen to these guys talk. There's specific kinds of people you should listen to talk. You know, Alfred Korzybski, Jacques Fresco. Like, you should listen to certain types of people and aim to, like, copy what they do and stop being corny, dude. It's just fucking corny for me. I just got to be very frank. I just look at it and I'm like, God, it's just so corny. It's so cheesy. Like, oh God, like, oh yeah, you're a warrior, bro. Yeah, oh God, like, it's just corny. It's just corny. Yeah, Feynman, it's another one. He would say some epic-ass shit that was on point, so on point. And you look at these guys' achievements, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Would your lives be more coherent in nature? Can we get a live while you're out there? Bro, I've done many lives in nature. I did one the other day when I was in nature. I feel like I'm pretty coherent right now, though. Crazy how you directly had influence on my MMA career, TN Way writes. I remember 13 years ago when you were training Dean Lister and Jeremy Stevens and started copying your trainings. That's crazy, man. Yeah. Yeah, man. Just know that like, I develop what I develop, I'm trying to avoid the corniness and get into reality as much as I can. I realize that people like cheesy stuff, but I'm not a big fan of it. I try and avoid the cheesy. I don't think it's necessary. Anyway, guys, I do got to jump on this meeting. All the best. Bye.